You know what I really love? The look of drawing and hand lettering together. And I'm going to show you some examples from my sketchbook of how I do it and give you some tips on how you can try it out too. Even if you're just starting out, I think you'll find it to be a lot of fun. Thanks very much to Pentel Arts for sponsoring this video. I'm looking forward to showing you how to use their brand new and very exciting dual metallic brush pens. They're amazing. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and perhaps that's true. But a drawing that has a few words around it becomes a whole lot more valuable, I think. And there are endless creative possibilities. I think of it like a song. There's the music, the melody, and then there are the lyrics. And they can make each other mean more and different things by being together. So you can have a serious drawing with a funny caption, or you can have a loose drawing with lots of writing, which is about your observation. My love of this probably goes back to when I was a little kid, and I first fell in love with storybooks like Winnie the Pooh, with these gorgeous illustrations by Ernest Shepard, surrounded by this river of text by A.A. Milne. And then I moved on to looking at scientists' notebooks and explorers' notebooks and the way that they would combine observational drawings with writing, maps, and collage, and all kinds of different elements. Leonardo da Vinci's Codex is another fantastic example of beautiful lettering and beautiful drawing together. For about 25 years now, I've been keeping a sketchbook as an illustrated journal. And I write about the things that happen to me, and I draw them as well. And this combination has helped me to create this rich record of my everyday life and to give me all sorts of insights into myself and my world. Now, I'm not a calligrapher. I've never studied calligraphy. I've never taken any courses, but I found my way to a certain style of lettering. And that style is something that reflects who I am and all of the influences and the inspirations that I've looked at my whole life. So my way of doing lettering is very me, and I'm sure that there's a way of doing lettering that's very you, and that you'll discover through all these different explorations. Let's talk about materials. There are a few things to consider. You need decent paper that can handle ink, perhaps some watercolor, some colored pencils, some markers, some brush pens. There are all kinds of things that you can play with. But you want to have a sketchbook that has decent paper that won't bleed through, so it won't give you unpredictable results. There's nothing worse than doing a drawing and then having some writing bleed through and ruin it all, or vice versa. But from there on, you can just experiment and you can play in all different kinds of ways. And I generally like to draw with a waterproof fine liner, but then I like to letter with all kinds of different materials. For a long time, I used a dip pen and India ink, but I also like to experiment with brush markers, with calligraphic markers and pens, and other new and innovative tools that always seem to be coming out. Every time I go to the art supply store, I find so many wonderful things. Let's have a look at some of these tools from Pentel Arts. Here I'm going to use a superfine brush marker to letter the text of my journal entry. And now I'm going to switch to a Pentel brush pen, which gives me a bigger and more flexible line. And I might use that to draw an arrow or to write a subhead, something that stands out from the text and is more bold. But then I'm also going to use these brand new Pentel Arts dual metallic brush pens. I just love these things. They're super juicy, super special because they give you two colors in each stroke. So you hold them up and you move them around and you can see they're metallic and they reflect two different shades in the same line, plus being a really juicy, fluid line to make letters with. And it's just such an impactful way of adding just a little bit to a page. You don't want to overdo it, but a single word can really stand out in a way that I've just never seen before. So I really love these things. Another thing to think about is the structure of your page. I like to look at the way books are designed and the way magazines are laid out or the way print ads are put together. They have several different elements. They have a headline where you summarize the main point in a short phrase. And sometimes you have a subhead where you might capture the essence of the entry or the article in bigger type. And then there's the body copy or the text block, which is smaller and it often has a single margin or it may just be justified. You can put your type into columns. You can also wrap your type around images. You could also leave the straight line and write lettering that wraps around an object completely in a circle or in other kinds of shapes altogether. You can try different colors, different colored inks. You can put down a background and then you can write over the background. You can make a big image with a lot of text or a small amount of text or a full page of text, or you can make little tiny spot illustrations scattered through the text. You can vary it from page to page. There's just so many options. Now, here's my biggest piece of advice for just about everything we do together. Take your time. There's nothing as disappointing as looking at a beautiful drawing with hastily done lettering next to it. So try to make your lettering as expressive, as neat, as consistent as your drawing itself. So slow down and make your writing special. You might want to even write out a rough draft on a piece of scratch paper to make sure that you have time to make corrections, which you may not want to make in your final sketchbook page, but you could also be more spontaneous. If you screw something up, cross it out. You can even rewrite it as long as you do it in an artful and authentic and interesting way to show your process. If you change your mind, your lettering can show how your mind has changed. You might want to look at different fonts. You might want to practice in writing in different lettering styles. What does it look like in cursive? Would you like to perhaps emulate serif type or non-serif type or Old English? Maybe you want to have an initial cap. All kinds of things that you can do to vary your writing as much as you vary your story. So what should you write about? Well, you might want to write spontaneously. What's coming off the top of your head as you're drawing? Perhaps you're doing some urban sketching and you're sitting on the street and you encounter some experiences and you just want to write them down. Or maybe you're doing a travel journal and you want to write down in depth all the experiences that you had at a particular location next to the drawing. Or maybe you want to just be internal and you want to write about what's going on in your mind today as you do this drawing. Your writing can be about the drawing or about the subject matter of the drawing, but it can also be about anything that's going on in your head. It can be serious, it can be funny, it can be insightful, it can be ordinary, and it could be a combination of all of those things. It's your sketchbook, it's your choice, it's your personality, it's your creation. Express yourself. I hope you'll give this a try. Turn your sketchbook into a notebook, into a diary, into a laboratory, into a playground, and into your constant companion.